Hello, welcome back to another episode. It is Friday, December 26th. Hopefully, I got a pretty good show for you today. Hopefully. Probably not going to be the longest episode I've ever done, but it will be an episode. I want to start off with this. I don't even want to talk about the games that took place yesterday because those Christmas games might have been the worst games we've been subjected to watch by the NFL all season long. It was so bad. Also, my face looks insanely white because of the window light that's coming through. I am not that white. I am tan. My face looks like a sheet of paper right now, and my hair looks like I just stuck my finger in an electrical outlet and shocked myself. But with all that going against this, I'm going to try to put on, the best show I can and make some just fantastic predictions today and hopefully go, 8-0, whatever. I don't know how many games I'm going to do. I'm not going to do all of them because there's some really bad games this week. Saints-Titans. Not predicting that one. There's some insanely bad games this week. I'm going to try to do just a couple of the good ones and talk about what I think about them. But the NBA, honestly, I agree with what LeBron says. And the NBA is, Christmas is the NBA's day. It's not right. The NFL games last year were pretty bad too. We got blown out by the Chiefs, and I'm pretty sure that was the Ravens blew out the Texans that same day, if I remember. So yeah, Christmas just not a great year for the NFL in terms of Christmas games. I'm gonna try to close this window so that my face is not insanely white anymore. That's a little bit better, a little bit darker, but it's better. So I'm gonna start off with the Saturday games because those are two bangers. I'm pretty sure. I literally just have the screen up right here of ESPN so that I can see. I can put it over here, actually. That might make it better. Yeah, that's a lot better. So, I have ESPN up right here, and I'm going to be predicting the games. Why is it so dark? I don't know. I got to figure out my camera settings. But it's fine. It's fine for now. Maybe I should just turn my overhead light on. I'm not really sure, but we're going to start off with the Saturday games. Saturday. We got the Houston Texans taking on the LA Chargers at 4:30 p.m. on NFL Network. So I have to listen to Rich Eisen commentate games, which his podcast is pretty good, and I will listen to that every now and then. But I can't. Him commentating an NFL game is really bad. I'm sorry. I can't stand it. No offense to anybody. No offense to Rich. He's definitely not watching this, but yeah, it's a tough listen whenever I have to listen to the NFL Network and it's Rich Eisen. It's a tough listen for sure. But in terms of how the actual game's gonna go, that's a tough one. That's a little bit of a toss up because they're both fighting for playoff spots, and I think Denver might have just clinched the division yesterday, so the Chargers can no longer win it, and I think the highest seed they can get would be that 5 seed. So I think I'm going to go Houston here. Even though it's in LA, I kind of like what the Texans are doing right now. They got the best defense in the league. I think I'm going to go with the Texans here. Okay, I turned the light on. That looks a lot better. Like I said, I'm picking the Houston Texans. Their defense is way too good. They may go on just an insane playoff run just because of how good that defense is. And you know what? I do trust Stroud to lead maybe a game-winning drive here and then. He hasn't been elite this year, and last year he had his, sophomore slump, but I would trust him in a big game to come through in the clutch. Maybe that's crazy, because he hasn't really shown us that before, but I'd still take it. Next, Ravens at Packers. Huge game for Baltimore. If they lose, they're eliminated. If they lose, the Steelers win the AFC North. So you know who I'm picking, am I right? No. I pick unbiased, no matter what. And the fact of the matter is, Lamar Jackson's probably not playing. It's probably going to be Tyler Huntley, who, let's be honest, not that good. Somehow is a Pro Bowler, because he made the Pro Bowl a couple of years ago on the Ravens. Doesn't make sense at all. But he is a Pro Bowl quarterback. He's not that great. Okay, let's be for real here. The Packers, however, even if Jordan Love doesn't play, I like Malik Willis. And I know they're both questionable, but I'm pretty sure Willis came out and said, hey, if Jordan Love can't go, I'll go. I'll be ready. I'll be fine. So I would honestly take either one of those guys over Tyler Huntley. Willis has been really good whenever he stepped in and had to play backup for the Packers. And I know his Titans days, weren't as hot, but I do like him, and he's been really good in Green Bay as the backup. And it's in Green Bay, and the Packers coming off back-to-back losses against Denver and the Bears. Give me the Packers to secure the Steelers a home playoff spot next week. Give me the Packers. I like the Packers. Now, as I'm scrolling through, I'm gonna pick the Steeler game last because I don't want to do that. Cardinals Bengals is gonna be hot garbage. The Bengals are gonna just absolutely blow them out of the water. No offense to any Cardinals fans that watch. I'm pretty sure none of you guys watch this anyways. I don't know why you would. The Bengals are gonna blow them out of the water. Saints Titans is gonna be a snooze fest. Jacksonville Indianapolis, that actually is gonna be a good game. Do I take Phil Rivers? Because Jacksonville has trouble with Indy. Or is it the other way around? I never really remember. I always get those two mixed up. That's definitely 50-50. Like, I could see Phil Rivers going out there and slinging maybe 3 touchdowns and getting an upset win with playoffs on the line for the Colts. You know what? I'm talking myself into it. I do like the Jags, and I think their defense is good. And Trevor Lawrence has been playing the best football of his career without a shadow of a doubt. Best ball of his career. Give me the Indianapolis Colts to get the win and keep their playoff hopes alive for maybe, I don't know what other games go into it, but probably, it's probably not looking good for the Colts right now. But if they win that game, it should help them, or maybe it doesn't matter at all. Maybe I'm just not thinking correctly. Maybe that game doesn't matter one bit. Maybe it's probably the Houston game that matters for them too, because they'd probably have to have Houston and or Buffalo lose a game. I'm not really sure how all that works. They'll probably need one of those teams, if not both of those teams, to lose out though. Especially since I think the Jags clinched the division. Did they clinch the division? I can check right here. I'm not sure what the playoff path really is for the Colts. Yeah, so the division's out of reach for the Colts, but they can still make a wild card spot. They would just need Houston or Buffalo. No, Buffalo already clinched because they're 11-4. They would need Houston to lose out, basically, is what I'm saying. They would need Houston to lose out. That would be the only way that they can get in, because Baltimore and Pittsburgh, we can't get in. We can't get in with the wild. Well, we can. Technically, we could, but no, we couldn't, because the only way we'd get to wild card is if we'd lose out, and if we lost out, we would not be in the wild card. Right? Okay. No, I figured that out. Houston and Indianapolis are fighting for the last wild card spot. Pittsburgh and Baltimore are fighting for the division, and I think that fight's going to be over this weekend, if I had to guess. Okay, Buccaneers at Dolphins. Probably, if I know Tampa Bay, which I feel like I know Tampa Bay pretty well, I think they're going to keep it close for no good reason. I think they're going to win, but I think it's going to be a close game, and it's going to require a defensive stand or something. I think it's going to be close for literally no reason at all. It's going to be a close game, but that's must win for Tampa Bay, because if they lose and Seattle and Carolina, if that game goes Carolina's way, then they're going to win the division, because they're a game ahead of Tampa Bay. So that's a must win. That's a must win for Tampa Bay. I don't see Carolina winning anyway. I see like the Week 18 matchup between Bucks Panthers being for the division. I would not be surprised at all if that happened, but I would take Tampa Bay over Miami, and then I would take Seattle over Carolina. So I'll talk more about this game, because that game has potential to be close, but Carolina has been so up and down all year. I would have a lot of trouble picking them to beat Seattle with the way things have gone this year. And I want to pick Carolina. My heart loves the Panthers. I don't play like second favorite teams or anything like that, but if I was not a Steelers fan, I would definitely be a Panthers fan, just because I'm from the Carolinas. I do like the Panthers, and my heart is with the Panthers, and I hope they win the division. No offense, Tampa Bay, but I hope Carolina wins the division. But I just don't see Seattle losing. They're so good. Sam Darnold's been hooping, and I mean, he literally was cut or something. I mean, like he was benched at Carolina. Carolina, he didn't work out there. I don't know if he has any bad blood toward the Panthers, but I would not be surprised if, yeah, the Seattle probably blows him out in Carolina. I don't care that it's in Carolina. Patriots Jets, not going to be a game. New England's going to take care of business there and put the Jets away. And then you got the Giants taking on the Raiders, another snooze fest. That is the battle for the 1 seed. Whoever loses, I'm pretty sure, is guaranteed. Not the 1 seed. Not the 1 seed. I misspoke. The loser gets the number 1 pick, which is vastly different than the 1 seed, unfortunately, for those two teams. So whoever loses that game, I guess, gets Fernando Mendoza or gets to trade away Fernando Mendoza. But if I have to assume if the Raiders lose that game, which honestly I would pick the Raiders to win, but I'm not making predictions here. I would be surprised if the Raiders got the number 1 pick. I would be surprised if they didn't take Mendoza, just because their team is just so bad. The roster is so bad. The Giants at least have hope because they have a decent defense and they have a decent roster. Not decent, but above the Raiders and the Cardinals. But the Raiders and Cardinals and the Jets are just cooked, and the Titans are just cooked. Such bad rosters. Some of the worst I've seen in the past 8 years. So bad. Since I've really been watching football, some of the worst teams I've ever seen take the field, which is it's sad because they all have one good player. The Titans, I guess Cam Ward is their best player, right? Unless I'm messing up. I guess is Jeffrey Simmons still on the defensive line there? It might be Simmons. I don't know many players on the Titans, but that I think their defensive tackles their best player on the team. And then the Cardinals, you got McBride. Marvin Harrison Jr. is still going to be solid if you give him a quarterback that wants to throw him the ball. But other than that, I mean, they really don't have much going for them. The Giants could have the best, young duo in the league in a couple years with Dart and Scadaboo if they stay healthy and Scadaboo doesn't get concussions and dies because he freaking rams his head into everybody. It's ridiculous, but they're exciting to watch at least when those two are healthy. The Raiders, other than Max Crosby and Genty, they have nobody. Geno Smith is not good. I'm glad we put that to rest, and he's bad again. I like that. Anyways, the 4:30 game. There's one 4 o'clock game, one 4:30 game. That's sad. Because I'm going to be watching the Steelers-Browns game, and unless that's a blowout, which I hope it is, I'm not going to really be paying attention to Tampa Bay, Miami, or Seattle, Carolina, unless I just have all of them on, which I can. So I might have to do that. But Eagles-Bills at 4:30 should be a fun one. Bills still in the hunt for the division, I'm pretty sure. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think they're still in the hunt for the division. And they got to play the Eagles. They don't have to go play the Eagles because it's a home game for Buffalo, which, playing Buffalo at home this late in the season at 4:30 when it's going to get dark out and it's going to be, prime time, that's going to be tough. And I'm not sold on Philly's offense. So give me Buffalo to win that game. Give me Josh Allen over Jalen Hurts. It'll be a fun game. It'll be a fun game for sure. But yeah, give me the Bills. Give me the Bills to beat the Eagles at 4:30. And then Sunday Night Football is producing a banger. Brock Purdy coming off probably the best game of his career last week, where he threw, I think, 5 touchdowns and 1 pick. That was a really good game from him on Monday Night Football, dueling with the old man, Phillip Rivers. But they're taking on the Bears at home in San Francisco. I don't know. I do like the Bears, and they've been fun to watch, honestly. I'm a fan of Caleb Williams. I'm a fan of that team, like DJ Moore and Ben Johnson. I do like watching the Bears play football. But I think the 49ers at home this late in the year, again, I would take the Niners here, but that might be another, classic. We have potential for just a couple of really good games this week, for sure. So hopefully they don't let us down. And then Monday Night Football, not really a a banger matchup. The Falcons have been pretty bad this year, despite like the upset win against Tampa Bay and stuff like that. But I expected more from the Falcons. I was kind of high on the Falcons. I was high on the Falcons and Panthers coming in, and the Panthers have kind of lived up to the hype, but the Falcons not as much. I still think they're going to be solid because they got like, a young defensive line. They drafted 2 edge rushers in the first round of the last draft. So I still think the Falcons can be really good in the future. Just they haven't lived up to the hype right now. And I am a fan of Penix. I think Penix is going to be good going forward. So I am high on the Falcons for the coming years, but give me the Rams. The Rams are dominant. They're coming off an L too against Seattle, so I know they're going to be pissed off. So give me the Rams to go into Atlanta and beat the Falcons. And then last but not least, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers going to play the Cleveland Browns. Now, this game could go one of 3 ways. I was going to say 2, but I thought of a third one kind of as I'm, formulating these thoughts in my head. The first way it could go is Baltimore loses to the Packers. We clinch the division and the 4 seed, and we bench Rodgers and some of our older guys. And I'd be fine with that. That would be fun to watch. I would love to see. I hope they would play Howard. I don't know if they'd give Rudolph the snaps just because, he's been loyal to the team, which I appreciate that. But he also started a game in Chicago and didn't play that great. So I hope we would see Howard just to kind of see what we have. After almost a full season of his development, hopefully, maybe with the injury to his hand and he didn't get developed all the way they want him to, maybe they won't play him. But I really hope we get to see some Will Howard action, either in Cleveland or against Baltimore next week. So, I don't know. It could either go that way. And I don't know what would happen there. I would care if we lost because I want to go 11-6. I don't want to go 9-8, 10-7 again. I want to win out. I want to go into the playoffs on a 5-game win streak. But I could see that game going either way if we started Howard, just because we don't know what Howard can do yet on an NFL football field. But I'm excited to see. I can't wait to see if they start him. I hope they start him, and I hope they don't start Mason. I really do. I could also see Baltimore. If the Baltimore wins in Green Bay, then you have to play your starters because you have to go clinch the division. Because you have 2 opportunities to, if that happens. And we have struggled in Cleveland in the past. It's going to be rainy and kind of snowy. And if we didn't have Aaron Rodgers at quarterback, I would say that we would lose, honestly, which is crazy to think. But if we didn't have Aaron Rodgers at quarterback, I would not be confident going into this game. But I think Rodgers gets it done if he's playing. And if he's not playing, that means we already won the division anyway, so it doesn't really matter, like, statistically. But for me personally, I always want to go beat Cleveland, and I always want to have as many wins as possible as we can on the season. So those are the 2 ways. The 3 ways are Rodgers does play, and then we just put up a stinker and lose to Cleveland late in the year. And I think that's what the old Steelers would do. But for some odd reason this year, like every other year, I don't think these are the same Steelers that I've been watching the past 8 years. And I think they take care of business, and I think they win by multiple scores, even in the snow, just because I think our run game is elite. I do think Garrett will break the sack record, and congratulations to him. He's been playing all. I'm glad that as a Steeler fan, I can sit here and say I don't hate Myles Garrett, and we can just witness and appreciate this guy is elite. And when Watt did it, it was great. And when Myles Garrett's doing it now, that's great too. And I don't care that he plays for the Browns. I do enjoy watching him play because he's a beast. He really is. And, who knows what Mason Rudolph really said to him. But anyways, that wraps it up. I'm going undefeated. I don't really remember how many games I actually predicted. I'll put that in the description. But I don't know. I feel like I'm pretty on point with most of them. I am a little worried about the Steeler game, but that's just because they're the Steelers, and I'm a big fan of them, and I've been watching them for so long. So I'm always going to be worried going into a Steeler game. But if I'm not worried, that's usually a bad thing, and I'm a little worried about this one, so that makes me a little bit more confident, which also, it's like a double negative type of issue, which I don't really understand math. I'm going to have to retake math class. But anyways, that wraps it up. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I will be back again Tuesday to break down what happens this weekend. I cannot wait. I will see you guys then. Enjoy your weekend and watch some football.